I've been doing YouTube for almost 3 years now, and each year it seems like there's always one author that stands out from the crowd. The first year it was Neil Gaiman, then it was Fredrik Backman, and this year it's Haruki Murakami, and that's why I thought I'd try to dedicate this video to Murakami and try to explain why I like his books. It all started out a couple of years ago when I read What I Talk About When I Talk About Running. This is his memoir-style book about running, about his jazz cafe or jazz bar, and also a little bit about how he thinks about writing. It's mostly about running, so it's not your usual style memoir, but I think I fell in love with him as a person while reading this because he just seems too cool for school, I guess. Especially how he talks about his records and how he brings the record collection into each of his books. I don't think I've read any of his novels where there's not a lot of records being just name dropped here and there. I like that aspect. I truly love this read, but I didn't go into more of his books right away, even though I had them standing in my shelf. And I guess I didn't think it was about his writing, but I might have been mistaken. But of course, this year I decided to further investigate his writing, and I picked up Men Without Women, and this is a short story collection. I do not know how much this has in common with Hemingway's Men Without Women. If you read both, please comment if I should read that one as well. But this is 6 stories about the relationship between men and women, and I guess what got me was how little I could predict in this story. I guess we all have expectations for what is going to happen when you read a book, but with Murakami in general, I have no clue. You might wish for a happy ending, or you might think that this isn't going to end well, and you sort of have a little feeling of what is going to become of this, but just the setup of all these stories I couldn't have predicted, I guess. Maybe one of them I could have sort of seen where it was heading, but the other ones I was just in the blank, in the dark. I don't know what the expression is. I was just amazed of how little I could predict when reading this one, and I guess that is one of his great strengths, and something I've found to be quite enjoyable. Then over to a book that a friend of mine called A Straightforward Love Story, and it's south of the border, west of the sun. So this is about 2 kids being best friends, growing up together and listening to jazz records. Yes, there is a theme to all of these. But then she moves away, and later in life he tries to find her. And I guess what got me with this is how weird he can get. The man, the guy in this story seems to have a thing for people that limp, and he's looking for the limp of this girl, and limping is just mentioned like 100 times in the first couple of pages, and it's a bit amusing, and also like, why are you talking about limping? But it gets me sort of a bit intrigued to the story, because I'm wondering what is wrong with you at times. And I do actually enjoy that quite a lot. Also, in general, I do not despise love stories, and I find that I can relate to the stuff he's writing about, even though it's not 100%. So I think the weirdness drew me a bit into this. It's also quite dark at times, which is something I appreciate, that it's not like a sugar-coated love story, it's more a nitty-gritty love story. I find that to be intriguing. And there must have been something significant with the read, because I chose to pick up this one quite instantly after I finished it. It's Norwegian Wood, and probably his most famous one, and what made him into the superstar he is today. What I liked about this is how dark it is. It's a love story, but it is of the nitty-gritty, complex and difficult kind. And that is something I can enjoy, even though I think I prefer the happy endings and the more happy love stories. I found this to be really indulging. It's in the way it's mysterious, and you're always wondering what is going to happen, and I have no clue, I had no clue, and I found it difficult to predict. Many of you might think this is not that hard to predict what's going to happen in. I found this to be more predictable than other books I've read of his, but still, I was not aware of where this all was going. At the same time, where it's a bit dark and dysfunctional, there is still humor, and that is something I truly love when authors makes you kind of sad, but at the same time makes you smile. And I guess he has that ability. Then of course what really made me make this video is my latest read, and that is 1Q84. So probably my favorite read of this year, and when I say probably, there is no chance that I will read another novel this year that's going to be more enjoyable to me. But anyway, I just felt right at home, and there is something to be said about his writing and how you instantly, or I instantly, recognize his writing without having any ability at all to understand why I do. Did that make sense? I can pick up a Murakami book, I can turn the first page, and I can just feel like I'm home. This is a familiar environment to me, without me understanding why. But what made me love this novel, I guess it's about two worlds, and I don't particularly love that thing where there's two parallel universes and I feel like I'm a bit lost at times, but I didn't feel lost at any point. Not without thinking that at some point I will understand why this is happening and I will be grateful for having read it, I guess. So the feeling for me as a reader not being left out or just feeling like I understand what I'm reading, it's a big advantage. I think earlier when I've read books with parallel universes or watched movies with parallel universes, and if I first get the feeling of being lost, I just lose my spark, and it's a terrible feeling to have when reading books. So Murakami's ability to make me confident in that what I'm reading I'll understand at some point, it's truly a magical ability. And the magical thing is something I truly despise in some books, but in Murakami's books, it feels very natural. So he can write books that I would call magical realism without me having an issue with it, and I do not understand why. If you have an explanation, please comment below. I have one theory to why I'm not hating it, and I think it's because it's not predictable. It's still like I'm wondering what is going on, but at the same time I know that at some point I will find out and I will love it. And I did with 1Q84. I guess these were my thoughts on Murakami's writing and why I like his books. I guess in 2024 I'll continue to read his novels. If you have an explanation of why you hate or love his writing, please comment below, because through reading your comments, I often realize why I like or dislike something in books. So please do comment below. And thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.